Temu, what is it? Temu. Kilo money. Why are you so desperate for attention?
Everything happen. Make I scroll phone small, Temu adverts. Scroll TikTok, Temu, Instagram, Temu, Facebook, Temu, Snapchat, Temu.
Well, we're here to talk about it. This company, a big conglomerate, has held us in a chokehold for up to a month now. Can we know our offense?
Can I know my offense?
Are we with your destiny or do you want our own? A little disclaimer, everything in this video is allegedly. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have an open conversation. They don't go sue me, I beg. Who or what is Temu? A bit Temu. Steph. Okay, first, you guys need to know that Temu is love bombing. Yes, and it's not just about the what I ordered versus what I got. It's something a little deeper and possibly unethical. A little backstory. Temu is owned by PDD Holdings, not. They launched Temu in 2022. PDD Holdings is an e-commerce giant in China who also owns Pinduoduo, a very successful online platform. Everyone buys products on Pinduoduo, from speakers to t-shirts or socks. What does Temu sell? Well, almost the same as Pinduoduo. A wide variety of very, very low-cost items, from home appliances to clothes and almost anything you can think of. The items are crazy cheap as well. Sometimes they sell up to 90% less than other sites and even spice it up with free shipping. Let's talk about their business model. So just like AliExpress, which I'm sure most of us are already aware of, Temu employs the supplier-centric approach. They connect you directly with manufacturers in China. The only difference is that AliExpress functions on a much grander scale because they appeal more to retailers and business owners who in turn sell to consumers like you and me. The sellers on the app also have more autonomy, hence AliExpress is just the platform. Temu on the other hand is slightly different because their target consumer is you and me directly, not just business owners. They connect you with manufacturers in China who produce under their brand. Temu also rigorously screens suppliers and only retain those who can consistently offer low prices. If you cannot offer low prices, you are out the door basically. So my question is, what of quality? Is that not important? Think of it like this very big marketplace with a lot of manufacturing plants. Everything you could possibly need in one place. So you go to the market, you place your order or orders as the case may be. You pay, then you get your products. Very simple. No middleman or third party involved. And because you are getting it all in one place under one brand, it will be crazy cheap, right? Because they'll be selling to you at the manufactured price. So yeah, basically that is how Temu works. The only difference is the time it takes to get to you, since they have to ship directly from their warehouses in China, which somehow is also cheap as well. All you just need to do is download the app and shop like a billionaire. Their app is another big magnet with a very user-friendly interface. They employ tactics like the gamified experience of the spin to win wheel, which is kind of like a game you can use to get discounts and bonuses. There's also the credit scores you get when you make referrals, which can be turned into cash to get even more products in the store. If you didn't know, Temu is not the first of its kind. There's been Wish, Zaful, Shein, and even AliExpress. In fact, we've seen this time and time again. It's just that for some really weird reason, Africa wasn't their primary target market. So why now all of a sudden? What changed? At first, there was one. So there's absolutely no way I can talk about Temu without bringing up Shein. Why, you ask? Well, they're birds of a feather. They go hand in hand. So just think of Temu as Shein, but with plastic surgery and a sprinkle of aggressive marketing here and there. No, wait, I take that back. A truckload of aggressive marketing. Personally, I've not seen such an elaborate marketing budget in recent time. These people are not playing at all. The look on my face when they were able to infiltrate Super Bowl, which reportedly cost them over 40 million USD. A typical 30-second Super Bowl commercial cost around $7 million. During this year's event, Temu had 6 of them. 6. So that's about 42 million USD. just on Super Bowl.
Bernstein Research estimates that Temu used a whopping $3 billion in marketing in 2023, and it's been among the most downloaded apps since it launched. 26% of US consumers that replied to this survey said that they have shopped on Temu during the past 12 months.
This year's marketing budget went from that $3 billion to about $4.3 billion. Just imagine that. Well, back to Shein. Although Shein primarily focuses on fast fashion rather than everyday items, the campaign is essentially the same. The target demographic is the young and impressionable, since it is believed that Gen Z and Gen Alpha has a kind of overconsumption culture, the buy this, buy that generation. They are able to leverage that and use social media as a tool to get exactly what they want. Today, brands no longer need to spend millions on traditional advertising. All they need is a good social media manager who knows how to capitalize on trends. Shein heavily sponsored the clothing hauls that trended on TikTok a while back. It's just that they were a little bit sneaky about it by mainly sending the Western influencers free clothes undisclosed. Allegedly, Shein had explosive success with 208 million app downloads worldwide between January 1 to October 10, 2023. Due to the rising cost of living, the global inflation rates, and just the sheer love of a good bargain, a lot of people really appreciated the heavily discounted items. Also, there's this thought process that a vast majority of items that are being retailed were made in China anyway, so I guess it's a win-win.
Temu is really opening up people's eyes where it's like, that's the same product that I used to pay 2 to 3x for because it had a logo on it. I disagree with that. Not every product, but a lot of products, because the amount of people that actually manufacture their own products in the US that sell US branded products is so small.
In fact, only 53% of total US brands manufacture their own product. Doesn't mean if it's US or overseas, but they only own it. So that means 47% of brands are just buying products overseas.
And they're just reselling them?
They're reselling them, correct.
Their strategy was brilliant. So, by avoiding the whole ruckus of the middlemen, which is the wholesalers and the retailers, who have to buy in mass and add money on top of it to get their own profits, they are able to sell ridiculously cheap at original factory prices. So, just one-way shipping fees to the consumers directly. But Temu does free shipping. Just hold on, I'll get to that in a bit. Shein took a large chunk of market from big fashion brands like Zara, Forever 21 and H&M. As at 2022, Shein dominated the fast fashion market with 50% market share. What's the relevance of all this, you might ask? Don't worry, it will all come together, you see. Then comes Shein and Temu to Africa. Right now, there's been a bit of, let's say, bad blood between these two big-time players. They are currently in a series of lawsuits and accusations against each other. Temu blaming Shein for blocking manufacturers from working with them. Shein blaming Temu for copyright infringement. Like, it's a whole mess. Up until recently, Shein had the bragging rights for the innovation into upscaling the e-commerce industry. That's in terms of fast fashion. But ever since Temu debuted in 2022, they've been doing essentially the same thing Shein does, but even better. It's almost the case of the teacher becoming the student. Very funny, actually. However, both Temu and Shein sell at ridiculously low prices and have given global giants like Amazon tough competition. They both found their way into our dear continent, Africa, and almost immediately started to give our local e-commerce giants like Jumia and Superbalist a run for their money, literally, to the point that these two are now out of business in South Africa. There has also been lots of concerns on how this may end up being detrimental to small business owners.
Right, it's everywhere. You know, you watch something on YouTube, the advert is there. You Google something, and 80% of the products advertised are Temu or Temu. I don't know. It's scary, but it's also so challenging for local brands because they will never have the budgets of that giant over there. So yeah, it's interesting to see. A little bit worrying, but I really believe customers are very clever now. We're no longer just tempted by price.
There's almost no way you can search for anything online now without getting an ad from Temu first. Like, the SEO is just crazy. Temu entered the African market in January 2024 with a launch in South Africa, and later in 2024, that's last month, they launched in Nigeria.
Yes, I got a mail from Temu yesterday saying they launched in Nigeria, and you need to see how I ran to my Temu app and switched my region just to see how true it was, and it was very true. I was able to see prices of items in Naira. I was able to go through some things on the app.
Shein, on the other hand, has been around in South Africa since 2020 and is yet to enter the Nigerian market. They've both been quite successful too, despite some hiccups which we'll get to soon enough. As at now, Temu is now the most downloaded app in Nigeria, displacing OPay and WhatsApp in the App Store. Let's talk about why Africa is such a big deal for them right now. Spoiler alert, it is all about good old opportunity and controversy. Africa is one of the fastest growing regions for internet users. More people are getting affordable smartphones and data plans, which means more online shoppers. For Temu and Shein, this is like striking gold. A good number of them are also quite young and tech savvy, as Africa has one of the youngest populations in the world. And let's be real, apps like Temu, with their gamified experiences and flashy ads, were designed to hook young people. People leisurely scrolling the app just for fun and adding things into carts, which is also subtly making them money. And remember the free shipping too. Yes, Temu is literally bribing you to shop. They'll say check discounts for referrals. I'm going to advise you to check again because it might feel like you are winning, but are you really? Food for thoughts.
Why is everything so cheap on Moomoo? Yeah, we call it Moomoo on this page because the bots keep attacking me. What you have to understand is Moomoo is doing everything in its power to break into the US market. And they've been successful. They've taken away market share from Shein. One of the ways they're doing this is by artificially lowering the cost of goods. When you see the exact same product on Amazon and Moomoo, except on Moomoo it's a quarter of the price, that's not real. What they're doing is taking profits from their sister company Pinduoduo, which is a very successful e-commerce platform in China, and using that to lower the cost. It's just a marketing ploy, so don't expect it to last forever. Once they get your name and number, those prices are going straight back up.
And guess the countries with the most internet users who also spend the most time online. I'll wait. You guessed right, South Africa and Nigeria. So you see, the data correlates. The math is mathing. Like it just gels. They know what they are doing. Then, depending on how you want to look at it, they also have very limited competition. The existing e-commerce giants might seem to be doing relatively well, but they just cannot compare. Temu is betting on their ultra low prices to dominate the market, but what they don't know is that this may also be a hindrance to them. In as much as Africans, we love a good bargain, we also think twice before dropping our ad-end cash. I mean, the zero naira claims are ludicrous, coupled with their mixed reviews online. Some people are saying you need to shop a certain amount before you can access the discount. I don't really think anyone is saying that and rushing to go download the app. Like in my mind, I would think people are thinking scam. And that's because we're very cautious and smart people. Thank you. What's the catch? If just like me, you're wondering how these people are actually making profit, especially Temu with the billions they are rolling out on marketing and ad budgets. Well, my people, I'm confused. I searched high and low, trying to find the sense behind their strategy. Because as of right now, it seems like they might be recording losses.
Can you guess who's the biggest advertiser on Meta? It's actually Temu. The brand reportedly spent over $2 billion and losing an average of $7 on every transaction to get the word out there. I find this interesting because this isn't something I would see brands in North America doing. A lot of them work on what's the customer acquisition costs, and it matters that that number stays positive and it's never in the negative. Losing money on every transaction is interesting, but it's also a very Chinese way to just hit the market fast, get that high market penetration and awareness. What do you think about this strategy? If I were to ask you, hey, do you know the Temu brand? Would you say yes or no?
To be honest, it's really confusing. How did they get by? Well, I came across this post that says the ads appear to be working to boost Temu's e-store. For the next 2 to 3 years, their strategy is just to grow brand awareness and market share. They don't care about profits. That's exactly what happened with Pinduoduo when it launched in China. They were giving incredibly cheap deals just to grab market share. So maybe they do have a plan. Well, I also came across someone who dissected other means they may be using to make profits. Commission-based sales, app adverts, shipping and handling the products, payment processing, data analysis. And in return, the suppliers get access to the global market, they spend low on marketing, and their logistics are more streamlined. Well, who am I to argue? In hot boiling water. Now let's talk about the hiccups, the controversies. Personally, I think the reason why these brands are leaping into Africa one after the other is they're counting on Africans being the good consumers as we've always been. They see Africa as the sleeping giant who will just take anything that is being thrown at it. After all, we are the poverty central of the world, according to them. Which is why they send us their used and low-grade items under the guise of charity. These brands have been called out severally for being unethical in their practices and just being plain bad for your health and the environment. But guess what? They're counting on you to not know and just buy. Allegedly. Aside from the obvious what I ordered versus what I got palaver, which I think is quite typical of low-cost sales. Because if you want quality, it's not cheap. It can certainly be overpriced, and that's also a problem in its own. But let's get back to Temu. There's been cases involving breach of data from Temu's sister app, Pinduoduo, which was recently suspended from Google Play Store.
I've been emailing back and forth with this Temu employee all morning, and it's interesting. First things first though, shout out to Temu for not trying to sue me yet. That's usually what happens. The first email was basically them saying, hey Carter, you made a video saying that we misuse data. We don't misuse data. Of course, I reply with, then why did your parent company have another app called Pinduoduo that got taken off the App Store because it misused data? And why did most of those developers leave that company and come to Temu? If you're not trying to steal cookies, then why'd you hire Cookie Monster? And surprisingly, in their reply, they didn't deny the fact that Pinduoduo had unauthorized data transactions. They didn't deny that got banned, and they didn't deny that top developers from that app are now working at Temu. Their defense was, we didn't design Pinduoduo to steal information. They just got hacked. I haven't exactly seen any sources or articles that would suggest that that's what happened. But maybe. They also said the reason why they brought developers from that banned app to Temu is because they are committed to assembling a world-class workforce. I mean, hey, Temu is very good at developing a very strong, very young workforce.
The biggest issue the BBB has with Temu involves your privacy. The consumer organization found Temu collects not only customers' names, addresses, and phone numbers, but birthdays, pictures, and anything else they can find from your social media profiles. The BBB says Temu gets additional information from your phone, your iPad, your computer, any device you use to access the app. That means you're exposing your operating system, IP address, your GPS location, and browsing data. That type of access concerns cybersecurity experts who say that leaves the door open for someone to bypass security settings, to spy on your other apps, change settings. That would leave you vulnerable to identity theft.
There's also been a series of allegations and ethical concerns on how they run their factories, from child labor to their workers being overworked yet underpaid.
Just last month, America's Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party made some alarming findings about Shein and Temu. The report highlighted that Temu exploit provisions enabling them to avoid customs enforcement. And really alarmingly, that Temu have no system in place to ensure compliance with the Uyghur Forced Labour Prevention Act. Meaning, yes, that Temu's products could be linked with slave labour.
Wait, there's more. Safety concerns on how companies like Temu and Shein manufacture their products. Lab testings have shown presence of carcinogens and toxic compounds like phthalate and lead in their clothing.
Guys, they found toxic chemicals at hundreds of times the safe limits in clothing from Shein, Temu, AliExpress. They found lead, formaldehyde, phthalates, all kinds of things. And I've shopped at Shein a little bit. The clothing I have from there, I usually can't even wear it longer than an hour because I'll have like these weird allergic reactions and things. And now I think I know why.
Environmental and sustainability concerns. Because companies like this use very low quality and low grade products, they end up being non-biodegradable or even recyclable, which can have very damaging impacts on the environment.
More New Zealanders actually surveyed purchased products from Temu. That equates to over 1 million of us shopping at Temu. But is it ethical? Are their practices ethical and sustainable? And we are joined on the show by Maya Duckworth from Tea Fund to delve more into this topic.
So Temu, the first time ever, was included in this report, and they scored 0 out of 100.
That's a fail.
I know. So the report looks into their practices they have in place to support their workers or mitigate environmental impact. So our advice would be take a moment to question what it is that you really need. If you don't need the t-shirt in the first place, or if you have something in your wardrobe that might suffice, then we recommend that as an alternative place to start.
So if you're wondering on how they are able to provide free delivery and free shipping, companies like this have been known to take advantage of tax loopholes to enable them to avoid paying VAT and customs duty.
Hello guys, how are you doing? So according to reports, the Takealot Group has taken aim at Chinese manufacturers Shein and Temu, accusing them of exploiting outdated regulations and loopholes via shipping methods that allow them to offer clothing items at exceptionally low prices. And they say the reason is that they don't pay certain government duties, taxes, and fees that other local retailers pay. So guys, what is being referred to here is what is called the de minimis rule. That basically says if there are imports or items coming in that are less than 500 Rand, they basically just have to pay a 20% duty and no VAT.
And yes, I know not everything about Temu is bad. There are definitely some good quality products which may be a bit pricey, but it's very hard not to talk about the cheap ones and the effects they have, especially because their catchphrase is shop like a billionaire, which implies they are depending on their cheap goods to make profits. Honestly, you can either choose to see all this as one big conspiracy by other e-commerce giants maybe to bring them down, or you can choose to believe the research, or in any case rumors. The choice is yours. Personally, I think overconsumption is ruining our planet. It's contaminating the air we breathe, it's contaminating our water and even our own bodies. I mean, do we really need a boiling chicken egg rooster like BFFR? Capitalism has built a system whereby the only thing that matters in the end is profit, but at what cost really? That's the end of the video. Bye. That's a lot of money. Right now, there's been a bit of